So a lot of people want to get organized, get rid of all the clutter in their lives, simplify. And yet there's a key principle that a lot of people fail to master. This is a fundamental principle of organizing our lives and simplifying and decluttering that you've heard of, but that generally people tend to not master. And if you don't master this fundamental skill, you will have a struggle around simplifying and getting organized in your life. And that skill is put into a phrase of a place for everything. Everything has a place, and everything in its place. I am Leo Babauta, creator of Zen Habits. I'm happy to be here with you. I've been simplifying my life, decluttering, getting organized for 20 plus years now. I've been teaching this to thousands of people, and I've worked with people one-on-one and in groups, and I notice this. So we're going to get into this. Don't skip over this if you want to get organized, if you want to simplify, because it is a fundamental principle and, again, not mastered by most people. Let me talk about how you know it's not mastered in your life, maybe, or in someone else's life. So one way you know is you have 1,000 browser tabs open, maybe a dozen actually, maybe 2 dozen, 3 dozen, 5 dozen, sometimes more. And so we just have a ton of browser tabs open. That is a symptom. It means you don't have a place for all of those browser tabs, the things that those tabs represent. They might be tasks, they might be articles you want to read later, videos you want to watch later, research things that you need to save at some point. There could be a lot of other things you need to check on at some point, reminders. And so browser tabs represent a number of different things. And if they are open, that means you don't have a place for them. You need to have them open in your browser. Now, sometimes it's the case that we're just going to be in the middle of something and we open a bunch of browser tabs. That's okay. And those will be left open sometimes. That's okay. I'm not talking about, in the case where like, oh, I need to open 10 different tabs in order to work on this, and then I forget to close them at some point and they're just open. I mean, it's that plus another one, plus another one, plus another one, and you've got dozens of tabs open now. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell you like you should be ashamed of having a bunch of browser tabs open. You shouldn't. You're a human being. But it's a symptom that shows this is a thing that still needs to be mastered. That's one place. Your computer desktop, if you have a desktop computer or a laptop, on the desktop of the computer, if you have dozens and dozens of icons there, more than just a few, dozens of icons, that means you don't have a place for all of those and you need them to be showing on your desktop so that you'll at some point remember them, right? And that means you don't have a system. That's okay. I'm not judging you. Don't feel bad about it. Just notice. If in your email inbox, there's more than a handful of emails in there, more than 2 or 3, more than 5 or 6, more than a dozen, that's a symptom that you don't have a place for all of those emails. You don't know, those all, just like browser tabs, represent something you need to act on or remember, that you want to read later. Maybe it's a newsletter that you're like, oh, I want to read that. And oh, this thing that I need to go and do with my doctor, that's here in this email. And this one is from a work colleague and it has 5 different things in it. That's a symptom you don't have a place for those things. If around you in your physical office or house, you've got papers lying around, different clutter, piles of mail, stacks of clothes, piles of clothes, stacks of different things that are pending, that's a sign you don't have a place for everything. If you're feeling disorganized, like there's just so much to remember and do and everything seems scattered, that's a sign. So these are just a few. There's going to be a lot of places like this where things are just a mess. And that's not again, we don't want to judge that. We don't want to feel like there's something wrong with us or ashamed. We just want to notice, oh, This fundamental principle is something I still need to work on. And maybe you mastered it years ago and then fell out of it. Great, come back to it. We always want to come back to basic principles, and mastering them will help us to build. So if you don't have this, then I'm going to give you some suggestions for how to actually start. So first of all the things that I mentioned, pick one. And I actually suggest pick the easiest one. If the browser tabs one feels so intimidating and email feels so intimidating, okay, great. Maybe it's the papers on your desk. But browser tabs might be one place to start. And so let's talk about browser tabs. What you want to do is identify, why do I need this tab open? What does it represent for me as a reminder? What is it reminding me of? What is it appending of, right? And so is it a task? Okay, great. Maybe you need a place for your tasks. Maybe you have one already, but you just don't have a way to copy the URL, the link, and put it into that task so that you can do it later. Are you going to do it right now? If not, take that tab, take that link, and put it into your task manager. So what I do is I have a keyboard shortcut in my browser. It's Command-Shift-C, copies the URL. Then I do Command-W, which closes the tab. And then I go over to my tab, my task manager, the task program that I use, and I create a new task and I paste that into the description, the URL. Done. That now has a place, and I will remember to process that later. And then I'll do that for every task that a tab represents. So maybe I have 5 tabs open that are tasks. I'll go through and do that for all of them. There's another kind of thing, which is maybe it's an article I want to read later. So for that, I have a place I use Instapaper. You might have a different one. Instapaper takes, I have a little bookmarklet in my browser, and I just press that and it saves it. Then I can close it and I'll read that later. And I have sometimes when I read through the articles on Instapaper, but if by Sunday there's a bunch that are in there, I'll spend a little bit of time reading through my Instapaper thing, or just archiving them if I decide I didn't really want to read it. Now, you want a same thing for videos. If it's a video, like a YouTube video that you want to watch later, have a way to save that. Maybe it's, you have a playlist on YouTube, watch later. Maybe you have a bookmarking service that can be that has a watch later tag on it. Lately, I've been using a bookmarking service called raindrop.io. It also has a little browser extension where I can press on it and it saves, and I just tag the thing, and it'll save YouTube videos. It'll save TV shows that I want to watch at some point, movies that I want to watch, books that I want to read. I just tag them with those things: to read, to watch, TV show, to watch, movie, to watch, YouTube. And so I have tags for all of that. And I just save all the things that I want to read or watch later. Maybe it's research for a certain project. Maybe you have a project, a place where all your stuff is for that project. Take those tabs, throw it into that project list. For me, I also bookmark them in Raindrop and put research, and then I also tag it with a project. And for me, that actually represents pretty much all of the kinds of tabs that I use. There's, once in a while it's like, oh, this is inspiration for something that I want to do at some point. So I tag them inspiration, and I also add the tag, and I put it into Raindrop bookmarking, and I can always go back for the inspiration for that kind of thing. Maybe it's inspiration for a house that I want to buy at some point. Maybe it's inspiration for an app that I want to design, or a retreat that I want to hold. I'll save inspiration for all of that. And when I want to work on the retreat or the house or the app, I go to that service and I look for those tags. So those are browser tabs. Those might not cover all of your things, and you don't have to use the services I mentioned. Find the one that works for you. But the idea is identify where things belong. Now, we just did that with browser tabs. You can do that with email. Emails are tasks. I like to forward the email to my task manager. In this case, it's one that I actually invented or I created for myself called Zen Mode. You could try it out, zenmode.work. I'm not selling it at this point. It's just a free thing I'm doing. But I can forward things, tasks at zenmode.work from my email inbox. Those get sent into the inbox of Zenmode, and I can deal with those later in my inbox there. Tasks. What else? Things to read. I'll open it up in the browser, save it to Instapaper. So if it's a newsletter. Sometimes it's just a quick reply. I just reply to it. Great, done. Sometimes I snooze. I'll snooze an email till the next day or later that day if I don't want to deal with it right now, but I don't want to bother putting it into my task manager. I'll just snooze it. Fine. But what happens is I actually clear out my inbox every day, sometimes twice a day. Actually, usually 2 or 3 times a day, I clear it out. It's gone. Or I'll just archive something. If I read it, it's just a notification. I read through all my notifications, archive all of it, move on. So that's the same. We want to do the same thing with every area of our lives. Figure out what is in there, what types of things are in there, and where they belong, and then you can quickly move through it and clear it all out. Same thing with my desktop icons. Same thing with the mail that I have. Where my clothes go, where my clutter goes. I kind of just identify, oh, there's a pile of stuff here that I'm not dealing with. That means I don't have a place for everything. And so I just do the same process that I just talked about for email and browser tabs for everything. And then eventually that just becomes ingrained. I'm like, oh, my email inbox is getting full. I just need to go through and put things where they belong. I've already identified them. If there are things that I just don't know how to deal with, I'm just like, I don't know where that goes. That means it's a new type of thing that I need to find a place for. Or it means I'm just not really getting clear on which type of thing this is. I'm not clear in my head, and I just need to figure out, is this a task? Is this something to bookmark? Is this something to read later? I need to figure out how to clearly define what is in that email or browser tab or desktop thing. By the way, for desktop files, things are on my desktop. Usually they're things that I want to save for later. And it's usually something like a thing for my taxes or a financial document that I want to save. I have a few things like that, and I save them on a cloud drive. In my case, I use iCloud for Apple. So I use Mac. And I just have folders in there for each of the types of documents that I have. And I just drag them in there, and it's synced, backed up, and in the right place. So if I need to do my taxes, I open the taxes folder for 2025. And all my documents are in there because I just put them in there. If I need to find a bill that I paid, I go and look in there. I don't usually save all my bills, but if there's a bill or some other kind of thing that I paid, I save it as a PDF, put it into that folder. I have, there's not that many other things that I save. There's a few other categories, and I have folders for each of them. Do that. Sometimes they're tasks, and you're like, okay, let me make a task folder for all of the documents that I need. Same thing with paper things. I'll note that I need to do a task here. I'll put it into my task manager. And if it's a paper, I put it into a task folder, and I can pull that out when I have to do that task right from the task folder. Same thing with the things on my desktop. If it's a task that I need to do at some point, I put it in the task manager, make a note of it, and then I put the file in my task folder. So those are some of the ones that I use, but you need to figure out what works for you. If you have a countertop that is cluttered with papers and other things, find a place for each of those things. If you have a dining room table that is covered in stuff, find a place for each of those things. It takes a little bit of time. Do it in chunks. Move through it, and eventually you will have a clear dining room table, clear countertop, clear desktop on top of your desk, clear desktop on your computer, clear browser, clear email. It's amazing. Once you have this principle mastered, these messes start to get cleaned up. Okay, that's what I've got for you. Good luck with this fundamental principle for simplifying and getting organized. If you master it, it is so freaking good. And no shame if you haven't mastered it. No shame if you're feeling overwhelmed. One chunk at a time. Just do a little bit, 10 minutes at a time, and you will master this. I am Leo Babauta from Zen Habits. Please subscribe if you want more of this content. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you have thoughts, objections, questions. Give it a thumbs up so others can find this. It really does help. And forward this to anyone who could use some Zen habits and some organizing, some simplifying in their lives. Thanks, my friends. I'll talk to you later.